Hey guys, Max 2015, how are you guys doing tonight? Tonight I really had to show some of these replays with you guys because these bases are so tough tonight. Not because they have a lot of ice, I think it's just people really know how to set up their bases nowadays. I mean, things are being really tough. Thank God my victory point is still going up, but not as quick as I was expecting. And I am aware that I'm gonna have tough days and easy days occasionally, but man, when the days are tough, it is just really hard to keep morale up, to keep going. But anyhow, we're still here, we're in the middle of the push, we cannot quit. And by the way, things have been harder because I'm down to 4 offensive statues rather than 5 as I had before, because I wanted to increase my defense. I do have TRM kind of training in here, but I have 3 replays that I wanted to share with you guys because, man, these bases have been so brutal recently. And for me particularly, it's the laser beam that's completely throwing me off recently. So here's the first base. It's a center layout with 4 ice statues, 3 of them boosted, and it did have a laser beam behind it, which means that whenever you have a laser beam that's boosted, you just cannot use Zukas. I mean, I guess you could, but it's just so difficult, especially if you're using RZM. For this particular base, I failed it a few times with TRM and RZCM. So this time I tried to use Heavy Zuka, and even with Heavy Zuka, it took me a few tries to figure exactly where I wanted to put the troops. So I blasted down one of the shot launchers, if you notice down here, and unusually I took down the 2 economy buildings up there because I needed to make space for my troops to stand in there. Otherwise they would just circle around them. I didn't like that. So anyways, put down all the heavy and Zukas, walk them all the way to the back right next to that shot launcher. I needed to wait for those Zukas to kind of catch up, and then we're gonna kind of reflare. Flare straight to the mortar, sorry. And then I had to shock critters and shock the laser beam. That laser beam, I had to throw the shock a little earlier, because if I delay just 1 second, that thing would just shoot. And even if my troops are under the smoke, the beam will just cut through all my Zukas and just kill like half of them. So that was super dangerous. It took me so many tries just to get it right, but this one really did stick. So the troops fanned out, they took down the shield, then they took down the laser beam itself, and then I just flared straight to the HQ and had them taking it down. I mean, it looks easy once you see the successful attempt, but believe me, it took me so many tries. Not as many as previous times, but it did take me maybe like 6 or 7 tries, a lot of it. I mean, this base only have 4 ice statues, and don't let that deceive you. 4 ice statues can be very strong if the base has a really strong layout. So that was the first base. It was actually brutal. The next base, this person looks like a Vietnamese name to me. This one I took with CRCM, and this one was also a center base, double shielded. I tried it with TRM a few times, but he has so much ice that I just couldn't do it with TRM. Plus his shields were so spaced out that I was running out of time before I even had a chance to take down the HQ. So I decided to go with RZCM, since all the top players use it. So I went ahead with it, took down the 2 rocket launchers. By the way, even with RZCM, it still took me many tries to get it right. So this time I took down the 2 rocket launchers, put down the troops, and if you notice, I held back 1 troop of rifles because I didn't want them all to die too quickly to the splash damage in the front. So this way I would have an extra boat of fresh rifles, to last me just a little bit longer. I also went in with 3 boats of Zukas because whenever I had 2, I was just a little shy on damage, so I needed an extra boat of Umph in there. So I sacrificed, and I only went in with 1 boat of Medic, which, surprisingly, it actually still worked. You can see how the troops are really spreading out. I was very afraid of flaring, like I've said in my other videos. Sometimes if you flare RZM and they bunched up, it's just, it's suicide, because you'll just get them together in a really tiny space, and then all the splash damage is going to come down on them and they'll just die. At this point, look at that. I wasn't too sure how I actually managed to beat this, but I still had a pretty good chunk of troops in here. There was a mini troop of rifles, Zukas, Cryoneers, and a medic in there. So there was like a full group of troops. But meanwhile, the Zukas over here started to wear down the shield little by little. What I found very useful in this particular base were the critters. Once you take out the flamethrowers or machine guns around the HQ, 1 pack of critters actually buys you a lot of time. And you can see once my troops took down all the economy buildings in here, they started wrapping around, and Look at how long these troops down here have been surviving. It doesn't look like much, but a few Zukas shooting freely really chips away at that shield. So once I got enough gunboat energy for another pack of critters, I just dumped it in there, and now most of my Zukas are shooting at the shield. It did take a long time because he did have 7 ice statues. Only the masterpieces were boosted, but that's the equivalent of 3 building hell statues boosted. So, you know, it's still quite a lot of boost. Once the shield finally came down, you see how long those critters really lasted and took the focus out of all those mortars. After that, thank God the mortars started focusing on the medics rather than the Zukas. But then I was actually running out of thing, and I threw 2 smokes to celebrate that. But, you know, if that had required maybe a few more seconds, those mortars, if the mortars had taken 2 or 3 more shots, I probably would have lost again. But I did get a little bit lucky. That was like my 9th attempt or something like that. It took me so many times to try to get that base right. And then this base was the worst one. This base I've had for 2 days on my map. Yesterday I attacked it up until I maxed out my tries, and the system wouldn't let me attack anymore. It told me to wait until tomorrow, which is, you know, wait till the next day, which was today. He only had 4 ice statues right there. All 4 of them boosted, and it was a corner base with a laser beam. But man, this base was super tough. I can't tell you how many times I felt this base with TRM, and I made different combinations of TRM. I went in with 2 bolts of rifles, 1 bolt of rifle, less tanks, more medics, and nothing worked. I also went in with RZM and CRCM with 2 bolts of Zukas, 3 bolts of Zukas. I just kept on losing. I tried with heavy Zukas smoking into the corner, but man, the laser beam would just kill all of my Zukas every single time, and it was just incredibly frustrating. So in the very end, in fact, today I thought I was gonna max out on my tries again, and I was actually waiting for the one. Oh, that was a nice message there. Keep it up. I was actually waiting for that one message to tell me, you know, wait until tomorrow to keep on attacking. So I decided, you know what, my last try, I'm just gonna go with Scorcher tanks. I never, and believe me when I tell you, I never used this troop composition. But I've seen Bootram do it in the past, and it actually worked really well for me. Also, I did consider that I have 2 troop health statues. So I have the Masterpiece and the Guardian. So my Scorchers will have a little bit of extra oomph on their health. So I just went in gun-ho with it. Look at how far they spread it out. I didn't really have a plan because I never used this troop. I didn't know how to use it. I just tried to dump as much gunboat energy as I could on the 2 boom cannons that were furthest from me, as far as inland as possible. I lost 1 Scorcher there on the top left. I did throw critters and shocks and anything I could to, you know, stop the boom cannons as much as possible. And I was just letting the tanks do all the destruction behind them. Now you have to consider that this was a particularly tough strategy for me to use because you use so much gunboat energy to deploy the troops, and I only have 1 GBE statue, so that made it really challenging because once I put down all the troops, I didn't have gunboat for anything. No shocks, no flares, absolutely nothing. So that made it particularly difficult for me. But like I said, I did have 2 troop health statues which really helped. But I am just so happy I was able to beat this base. Man, it was gonna drive me crazy. I did lose 2 of my Scorchers. I was thinking about flaring back to the corner at this point, but then some of my tanks started going for that the shield generator. And I just decided, you know what, I'm just gonna let the tanks finish off the shield because that'll make it much easier rather than have all the troops trying to wear down the shield from down here. I did throw a smoke because I wanted that last Scorcher to last me just a little bit longer if possible. I threw a second smoke because the first one was just about to run out. Once the shield generator finally went down, I flared them backwards. We can go a little bit quicker here. Just kind of let them regroup and then flare them to the bottom there. Now we can go regular speed. And now I had a pretty good amount of gunboat energy because I have been saving from all the buildings that they took down. I mean, look at it. The guys pretty much took down like 4/5 of the entire base. So I threw a shock on the shock launcher there, flared straight to it, got rid of it, and then finally I had a legitimate chance to finish off the base. I came a little bit close before with the other troops, but just shy of it, and it was that shot launcher right next to that HQ that was giving me problem. So once I finally got here, I just dumped all of my smokes in there just to, you know, rub it in. Man, I cannot believe how tough this base was, guys. If you want a really effective base, copy this particular base because it was brutal. Trust me, it was absolutely brutal for me. I mean, I can't believe how much I struggled with it, but thank God I was able to take it down. I'll be able to sleep tonight. I'm at 1,451 victory points, and two bases just kind of spawned on me, look, 30 minutes ago and an hour ago. And these are, once again, the number. What are these guys? Like 5 and 6 in the world? 7 and 8. Again, respectively, it looks like they like to spawn together. So I have global number 6, 7, and 8 on my map right now. So here's 6, 7's down here, and Zakek is down here. So, but as you can see, I'm actually pretty down on gold already. My statue boost is going to run out in 20 minutes, so there's not much more I can do. I'm just glad I was able to take the easier bases. Maybe I'll just sit the rest of these guys out because it's pretty late at night already. I'm pretty tired. I'm mentally drained from the stress of this push. So I think I'm going to just try to take it easy and rest for the rest of the night. Also, the Mega Crab Shadow did appear here. It'll be here by Friday. Unfortunately, I have to go to a wedding up in Rhode Island for the weekend, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to play and record the Mega Crab event. So I'll try my best to see if I can. I don't know if I'll be able to do it, but if not, then too bad. We'll have to wait till the next one. If I'm able to, then I'll be sure to post as much as I can about the Mega Crab to share it with you guys. Alright guys, so that'll be it for now. I'll try to keep it short, just 3 attacks, but man, those were 3 satisfying attacks, I have to say. So alright, let me know what you guys thought about the attacks, guys. Leave me a comment down below. As always, I really like to read them. I read all of your comments. I've been really enjoying interacting with you guys. So let me know what you guys think. And hopefully you guys like the video. I'll see you guys next time. Okay guys, I'm Max2015. Till the next push. Bye.